It goes down smooth.
Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhaled frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
All right, game on.
Taking it up a level.
Taking it up a level. Brian got some cool new domeless glass nail.
I figured we could bring this in. This was given to me by the head of one of the people that works at Black Market Glass. Black Market Glass. They're
cool. Thank you, Black Market Glass.
Now. Yep.
We will check that out. Yeah. And I like getting some of the comments in the chat room. Larry said, "Now that's a rant, Russ. You better check your blood pressure." Yeah, there's been a lot of things have stirred me up all this week. Maradramas left and right, and then this whole thing where it's all legalization's fault that medical marijuana is falling apart. It's all legalization's fault. By gosh, if we hadn't passed I-502, nobody would have ever noticed or ever done anything to restrict that medical marijuana. It's all legalization's fault.
Sorry, I call bullshit on that.
One of my strong opponents, one of my haters out there. I've been drinking Haterade all day, and I'm ready to piss.
That's why I brought you the Coke.
Thank you very much.
I knew you'd be full of Haterade.
So one of my leading haters out there is this guy named Friar Ryan. I think he used to call himself Brother Ryan or Father Ryan, and then I questioned him on his religious credentials, and then he changed it to Friar Ryan.
Okay.
Whatever. All right. So
whatever.
This guy's been on my jock for, I don't know, years now. And he, in my Facebook thing, we're going on this long old thread about it. He was accusing me of being a hack and a cheerleader, hack journalist and a cheerleader for I-502. And he posted a video with it. It's a 30-minute video, 30 minutes, where most of it is me, a still from my show, and the rest of it's just him in a little corner, right, talking about what I just talked about or something. Anyway.
His little rebuttal.
Right. So I thought, Russ, be fair. Take a look. Watch the video. You're getting older. There's only so many days left in your life. Why not waste a few minutes of your precious breathing time on Friar Ryan's video? So I did. I watched it. I couldn't get past 2 minutes before I burst out laughing. It was just so funny to me. And this is what caused me to laugh. I got to get this out because it's just, it's stunning to me. Stunning. All right. So here, follow the bouncing ball on this one. The problem is that when I-502 came out, I didn't ask Allison Holcomb the tough questions, the hard questions about it. I wasn't nearly as tough on her as I should have been. And I called the people who opposed 502 Nazi war criminals and said they were enemies forever and they were prohibitionists. But I'm a hypocrite now. Here's the catch. Because in 2010 and 2011, when Sensible Washington was proposing their ballot initiatives to just remove all marijuana laws and let the legislature figure it out, the ACLU came out and publicly opposed it. So, Mr. Russ, how come you didn't call the ACLU in 2010 and 2011 Nazi war criminals and prohibitionists? So I laughed loudly, and then I paused, and I thought, shit, I remember when those came out. I think I called out the ACLU on that, and sure enough, the very first result in my Google search on this pulled up the article I wrote in 2010 about the ACLU publicly coming out against 1098 at the time, publicly coming out against 1098, publicly saying that it was a flawed initiative, and if we put it on the ballot and it failed, that would retard the ability for us to try legalization in the future. You know, the same argument MPP gave about Oregon in 2014. Don't try something and fail in 2014 because then you'll never be able to do something in 2016. Kind of odd how I'm consistent that way, because in 2010, when Allison Holcomb proposed that kind of excuse, I called her out on it. The article's right there on stash.normal.org, where I am saying it's never a mistake to put a legalization on the ballot, even if it does fail, because how it fails can tell you a whole lot about what you need to do in the next election.
You know, I say it every time. Even a little step forward is still a step forward.
Exactly.
Vote for every damn thing that gets us a little bit closer.
So there I was in 2010, publicly on the normal page, opposing what and blowing a hole in an excuse that Allison Holcomb had put forth as her reason why the ACLU needed to oppose publicly these legalization initiatives. And I concluded with a paragraph that went along the lines well, I should just pull the damn thing up. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. I'll pull the damn thing up because I'm getting so riled up I can't even think straight right now. Good to have Brian the Red in the house, or else who knows what might have happened.
Explosion.
Brian the Red will be in here later tonight for the flashback.
Yes, I'm still working on the playlist. I've been a little under the weather, but I'm here to work on it.
All right. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I'll recall all I can recall from my little Facebook post, because it's so much fun.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I want to thank you for listening to 420 Radio. We couldn't survive without you and our sponsors, and I'd like you to check out one of our prime sponsors, the National Cannabis Coalition. I've been working with NCC since June of 2012, and I'm proud to be part of the team they have assembled. National Cannabis Coalition is building the partnerships with reformers, lawmakers, and industry we need to be successful. Visit the National Cannabis Coalition website at nationalcannabiscoalition.com or the easier-to-remember ncc420.com. That's where you'll get the exclusive first look at my radical rants, as well as informative articles from the nation's top cannabis pundits. Visit ncc420.com today, and if you have your phone handy, text Russ to 420-420 to support NCC and 420 Radio. It's a free text message that helps us help you end adult marijuana prohibition. Learn more at ncc420.com, and thanks for supporting independent marijuana legalization public radio. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the only way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect, and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak to my attorney, Omar Figueroa. Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at www.omarfigueroa.com.
Welcome back, everybody. 10 after the hour, the High and Mighty with their tune Weed in the background.
Weed, what a relief. Where will my eighth a day habit cease? This an agricultural service.
Hanging out with Brian the Red here and further discussing the haterade. Oh, my goodness. That's okay, though. You know what? I like the haters. It gets old having people agree with you all the time. I like the haters. They force me to think. They force me to adjust. They force me to conceive strategies and deal with arguments and points I hadn't have thought of before. I got no problem with people disagreeing with me. In fact, people disagreeing with me is what has helped set my strongest beliefs in life. I'm a Socratic kind of guy. Me and my dad growing up, we used to argue. And it didn't matter about what. We would just argue about shit. Didn't matter what. We'd argue.
In richer families, they call it having a debate.
There you go.
Family debate.
There you go. And we would just go over topics, whatever topic it was, and we would talk about it. And I'd find people who would disagree with me to talk about things because I already know what I think. Mm-hmm. I want to know what other people think, and maybe I didn't see a particular angle. I'll give you one real good example. I used to be against hate crime laws. Mm-hmm. If you gay bashing or you beat someone up racially motivated, all that. I used to be against hate crime laws because I figured, well, duh, if you bash someone, you hate them. All crime is a hate crime. Until I started talking to gay people and started talking to black people who explained to me that no, an act that is directed, we have different levels of crime based on intent. There's first degree murder, there's second degree murder, depending on your intent. Third degree murder.
And then there's an intentional manslaughter.
Yeah, depending on your intent, right? Well, the intent of a hate crime isn't necessarily just to bash the gay person or black person or transgendered person or the woman or whoever's in front of them. No. It's also sends a message to that entire community, that terrorizes that entire community.
It's a fear factor.
And ensures everyone's place in the order. And lo and behold, after I talked to these people and started to understand that point of view, my point of view changed. I changed my point of view.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It's how you look at certain things, because really, some people, they don't know that they do know that they're committing it, because they're motivated one way or another about a certain issue, and it is. Tougher penalties maybe should be inflicted on some people who are specifically targeting groups like that, but there are just ignorant hate crimes too.
Right, sure, and
they're crimes of ignorance,
and that's a whole nother subject. I just kind of bringing up an example, but on this point, I love disagreement. What I dislike is the childish, dramatic, hyperbolic, melodrama, name-calling, ad hominem bullshit that goes on in most of these discussions. Because I disagree with some people on some things, I'm a douchebag. I'm pushing people under the bus. I hate patience. No, I just disagree with you on strategy and tactics. And I got to respect people like Leland Berger, who completely disagrees with me on the Box Canyon theory.
Yeah.
And has for years. Mm-hmm. I love the guy. We get along. We talk to each other. We can work on
conferences.
We work together. We had lunch together to discuss he asked me, what kind of things do you think should pass in Oregon? And I said, make an ounce to a quarter pound not a felony. Mm-hmm. Make up to a quarter gram not a felony. A number of things I suggested became law here in the state of Oregon. So people who disagree can work together. They can find a place to work together without saying you're a douchebag, you're an asshole. All right, so let me get to this Friar Ryan thing. I got to get to this. So the one quote that I had, just to reset, was, the charge of hypocrisy because I didn't slam the ACLU in 2010 for publicly opposing a marijuana legalization initiative. What I wrote then in 2010, number one, was, I don't believe a no vote on a citizen initiative to legalize marijuana is a significant setback. Only failing to put the marijuana issue to a vote is a setback. If I-1068 fails to pass, even that knowledge, combined with exit polling, can show what the public didn't like, so activists can better present the issue on a future ballot, end quote. Which, by the way, is why I-502 ended up the way it ended up, is because they looked at the exit polling from Prop 19, the other legalization initiative that growers and dispensary owners fought against, and found what didn't work, and then they decided what they was going to go with in Washington. And the other quote, the one that I concluded with, was, I think the best we can hope for if we do not cooperate on each other's measures is to at least not obstruct each other's measures. Like my mom once counseled, if you don't have anything nice to say about a marijuana law reform, don't say anything at all. Which is my way there of saying to the ACLU, shut your mouth. You shouldn't be publicly opposing this. You can be neutral on it. So I did criticize the ACLU, and I did stand up against them when they were against a legalization proposal. But one major difference, of course, these legalization proposals had no money, had no backing, had not enough to get signatures on the ballot, refused to compromise when everyone with money who wanted to help them said, look, we'd help you with something, but this whole idea of just repealing all the laws and letting the legislature fill it in, that's a wacky idea. And those people who were going to let the legislature work out all the details to the legalization are the same ones complaining now because the legislature, working out the details of legalization with I-502, is screwing over medical marijuana patients. Funny how much they trusted them back in 2010 and 2011, but in 2012 and 2013, the legislature are demons that cannot be trusted. So there's your Friar Ryan bouncing ball of logic. Yeah. So because the ACLU opposed legalization that didn't make the ballot in 2010 and 2011, when they did support it in 2012 and pull it off, I was supposed to oppose them? Oh, and here's another find. For those who think I was a cheerleader for I-502. Oh, you were a cheerleader for 502. Which I'm not understanding how that's an insult.
Sorry, and I was sitting next to him the whole time as his opinions on the measure changed. So, people can evolve.
Yes. Check this out. This is what I wrote just about a year before 502 was voted on, as it was making the ballot. I wrote this, quote, the former head of the Seattle FBI office has come out in support of Washington State's I-502 legalization without any home cultivation and a new unscientific 5 nanogram per milliliter THC under 21 zero tolerance per se DUID for pot initiative. That would be me pointing out it has no home grow and an unscientific DUID, wouldn't it? Interesting. But here's another interesting thing. In light of today's news of the main dispensaries that are opposing marijuana legalization, I predicted this back in 2011. This was November. This is about 2 years ago that I wrote, quote, assuming I-502 survives a federal challenge to state running commercial pot growing and selling. Assuming I-502 survives a federal challenge to a state running commercial pot growing and selling operations, and they assure us it will, and it does not leave Washington State with only a new per se DUID law, we'll have a situation where Washington tries to run a legal recreational system where tokers have to buy state store weed with taxes an ounce at a time and can't grow their own, alongside a legal medical system where patients are growing their own and processing 24 times the amount of tokers. So if I'm a patient, like many who are on fixed incomes, why don't I make some extra cash diverting some of my 24 ounces at prices just below the taxed price? And it's not 20 after yet, Liebermater. And I told you not to automate. Bad girl.
Yeah,
Why don't I make some extra cash diverting some of my 24 ounces at prices just below the taxed price of lower quality state weed? Will tokers have to carry receipts from the state weed store lest cops insist the weed is diverted from a patient or illegally homegrown? And why is it I have to get sick to grow my own again? End quote. That's what I wrote 2 years before. It's just amazing. Just amazing to me. And it continues on, and he answers. And you can, you know what? I'll put the link in here if anyone's at all interested. It's a funny little, let's see, where's the link there? That's the link. Okay. It was Grey Wolf actually put the post up, but now a lot of people responded to it. But I'll put there in the old chat room if you want to check it out. It's hilarious, really. It's just really hilarious. And, if these guys want to hate me and turn to the Steves as their leaders, by all means, you can have them. Follow the Steves. They did so good on the No on I-502 campaign, after all, right? They've proven their political acumen by never passing anything. Follow them. And by the way, the public loves them. There's nothing that people love more than reading the comments of an article where the author of the article is telling people they have their heads up their ass, that they're fags, that they can suck his dick, that they can kiss his ass, they can fuck off and die. People love that. That goes over real well with the mainstream too. You know, people that can actually change laws and stuff and give you money and support you, they love that. Follow those guys right off the cliff. Be my guest. Gloves are off, people. The book comes out on 420.
I think you need a dab.
I need a dab. We'll be right back with something happier to talk about. Stick around.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today.
Let him bring in the beat.
Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let him bring in the beat.
420radio.org presents Canna Truths with Denton Ramsey from Waco, Texas, every Thursday at noon Pacific, with replays Friday at 5 a.m., Sunday at 5 p.m., and Mondays at midnight, right here on 420radio.org.
Yo. Yo. Like real compress. Hey yo, pass it on about this. Joe Lucky. Hey yo. Yo. We smoke all day, we smoke all night. Rehydrate, make me feel alright. Give me the light, make me light up again, make me roll up again. You know want no cigar, better you give me the grabber. 2 sheet a rizzle, I light up the chalwa. 501 stop, what bout them one check what, bet what, take what. Give me another rizzle. If you see me from the corner smoking marijuana, please don't bother me. 50 don't bother. Yeah, cause I'm a ganja smoker. Yeah, if you see me from the corner smoking marijuana, please don't bother me. 50 don't bother. Yeah, cause I'm a ganja smoker. Yeah.
On the block token, push your purple coating, 50 broken scoping, what's the show I'm blowing, in anywhere I'm going, ha ha high grade, could never stop me smoking, in the house or in the open, smoking like a chimney, but how my lungs are open, come out and break the city, but still yes I'm going, smoke and feel free, keep the truth and growing, for those who smoke weed, keep the high token.
Welcome back, everybody. Toker Talk Radio, 25 after the hour. Checking out the chat room and seeing what everybody has to say. Also catching up on Fire Ryan's replies. So apparently I was pimping I-502 before it hit the ballot and interviewed her several times before the petition drive was over. But when I-1068 or 1149 was in full swing, you were not pimping out those initiatives. And to my recollection, Doug Hyatt was one of the sponsors of both initiatives, came on after both of those initiatives had failed, but not during the initiative drive. Well, this is where you get to enjoy part of my life here, because this is where I go to stash.normal.org, where I wrote during those very times, and I type in the site-wide Google search for Doug Hyatt. And we shall see just how many times Doug was on my show. Let's see. Doug Hyatt, stash.normal.org. Oh, I know. Stash.normal.org. .normal.org/tag/Douglas Hyatt. Let's see. And we can look there and we can see Douglas Hyatt was tagged on February 20. Let's see. Go way back. Oh, there's 3 pages of posts where I have tags for Douglas Hyatt. What do you know? Let's just see what some of these are. Let's see. May 19th of 2008, I had Douglas Hyatt on regarding Timothy Guerin, the medical marijuana transplant patient who died. Let's see. On June 13th, 2008, more Doug Hyatt. Let's see. August 1st, 2008, Doug Hyatt. September 12th, 2008, Doug Hyatt. September 26, 2008, Doug Hyatt. Oh, let's see, page 2. How we doing on page 2 here? Moving into 2009. Okay, we got December 2008, Doug Hyatt, legal medical marijuana patients. February 11th, 2009, Doug Hyatt. Normal attorneys file citizen initiative to legalize marijuana in Washington state. January 13th, 2010. Interesting. Activists have filed a ballot initiative that would authorize marijuana possession in Washington state. Douglas Hyatt, a lawyer who represents medical marijuana patients, told the Associated Press, blah, blah, blah. Doug Hyatt and Jeff Steinborn are on the Normal Legal Committee dedicated to ending prohibition. They could use the help of citizen activists like you. If you live in the Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia area, please send me an email at stash@normal.org if you'd like to be involved in reforming Washington Normal. With both a legalization bill and initiative in the running this year, there has been no better time to become normal. Let's see what else we got. January 20th, 2010, Washington lawmakers reject decrim and legalization of marijuana, tagged with Doug Hyatt in that post as well. Let's see what else we got. Stash, the show of January 25th, 2010, where Doug Hyatt is on discussing the liver transplant issue. Let's see, February 8th of 2010, the new Washington Normal groups working together with Sensible Washington to collect signatures for I-1068, the legalization initiative filed by Normal Legal Committee attorney Douglas Hyatt. Let's see, February 8, 2010. That would be before it made the ballot and while it was still in the signature gathering phase. Let's see, February 19th, 2010, tagged with Douglas Hyatt. As a result, Normal Legal Committee member Doug Hyatt, along with Normal board member Jeffrey Steinborn and others, are petitioning to place the issue before state voters this November. That would be February of 2010. In February of 2010, ACLU of Washington will not support I-1068. That would be the post I told you about earlier, where I called them out saying that if they didn't have anything nice to say, they shouldn't say anything at all, and calling bullshit on the idea that failing at a medical marijuana or at a marijuana legalization would be detrimental to future legalization. That would be February of 2010. February 23rd of 2010, I have both Allison Holcomb and Doug Hyatt on to talk about that very issue, the I-1068 rejection by the ACLU of Washington, where Doug Hyatt was allowed to ask any questions he liked of Allison Holcomb at that story. Let's see, Normal Legal Seminar in Aspen, June of 2010, where I posted presentations by Douglas Hyatt, a lot of them having to do with the marijuana legalization situation in Washington state. Now, if we move ourselves to page 1, June 15th, 2010, Douglas Hyatt on medical legalization in Aspen. July 3rd, 2010, I-1068 will not make the ballot. So I believe that between the January when it was announced and the July when it didn't make the ballot, I must have done, 5, 6 posts on the Douglas Hyatt situation. Now, should I stop now, or should I do the Google where I pull up all my I-502 posts and count how many I did before it made the ballot? Had enough, Friar Ryan? I hope you're recording this and you make a cute little video of it. Because I could use the hits, actually.
The other one amused you so.
It's just getting too easy anymore. I need higher quality haters. It's too easy. All right, let's talk about something else.
Higher quality haters.
All right, so I got 3 articles up on High Times today, because I'm a hack journalist. Mm-hmm. So I got 3 articles up on High Times today. One is politicians abandon medical marijuana for epilepsy. This kind of dovetails into what we're talking about. See, here's one of your problems with medical marijuana and playing the martyr game. We started this in 1996. When it came to medical marijuana, we said, my God, what kind of person are you? Look at this poor, suffering AIDS patient or cancer patient or whoever it was, in a wheelchair, whatever. Poor, suffering patient. How could you vote against not helping that person out? And that's how we got medical marijuana passed. Now, in California, of course, they had, or any other condition a doctor believes marijuana will help, and that led to, anxiety, depression, restless leg syndrome, overloaded wallet syndrome, arrest anxiety syndrome, whatever it was, you could get your card, you can get your rec for medical marijuana in California, right? That's what started it. So the next level was, of course, well, we can't have any other condition. But I don't recall in 1998 when Oregon and when Washington and Alaska were trying to pass medical marijuana in 98, I don't recall anybody being lambasted who was proposing those laws that didn't have or any other condition a doctor will approve of. I don't recall anybody getting castigated as throwing the depression patients under the bus. Oh, we're throwing the anxiety patients under the bus. No, it was perfectly fine to restrict it just cancer and AIDS and glaucoma and spasms and seizures and pain and nausea and cachexia. That was fine. Because how could you? How could you not vote to support those people? Well, then the next few states made those condition lists a little more restrictive. For example, in Vermont, they didn't even include glaucoma. Now, in 2004, was it 2004? When Vermont was passing medical marijuana without glaucoma in it, did we hear anybody say, "How you're pushing the glaucoma patients under the bus"? Nope, it was okay because, my God, how could you not vote to help the cancer patient? And now where we're seeing this lead is each successive state gets a stricter qualifying condition list, gets no home grow, gets more restrictive dispensaries. But never along the line does anyone point the finger at the medical marijuana industry or leaders themselves as the result for all these increasing restrictions. Because at the core of the argument is, how could you not vote for it? Sure, the Illinois medical marijuana will only be available to people with one of 33 polysyllabic, well-documented conditions. You'll have to get a second opinion for a pain condition. You can't have kids on the registry. You got to chain yourself to a radiator while you're taking your bong hits, as long as only it's in a basement at 2 a.m. or whatever the hell new restriction comes up. The medical marijuana people can't oppose it because they have to say, oh my God, how could you vote against that poor cancer patient? Even if he has to be chained to a radiator at 2 a.m. Now, this latest story, politicians abandoned medical marijuana for epilepsy. Now, since the CBD thing came out on Sanjay Gupta, the CBD oil, everyone's jumping on that. All these people, these parents with kids with epilepsy who never would have thought of medical marijuana before are jumping on the CBD thing to help their kids. Nothing wrong with that. Of course, you want to help the kids. My God, of course. But now, in Pennsylvania, the senator who's been pushing medical marijuana, limited medical marijuana for just the very specific conditions, and you can only have these many ounces, you can't have homegrown, blah, 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 is dropping that and pushing just legalizing medical CBD oil. Is anybody claiming that Senator Dalen Leach is pushing the chronic pain patients under the bus? Pushing the MS patients under the bus? Nope. Nope, that CBD oil, that's fine. And there you go, another restriction. If you keep fighting for only medical marijuana, the marijuana you end up with will be only medical. Soon enough, Alepsia becomes Epidiolex. And every little kid whose heartstrings pulled on America when they saw little Charlotte Figi and Dr. Sanjay Gupta special are no longer supporters of medical marijuana, because now they get their Epidiolex from GW Pharmaceuticals in a reliable dose that's always of reliable consistency, no supply hassles, paid for by their insurance. And there's another chunk of people who now have no real reason to support medical marijuana, and another chunk of people for whom we can't push out in front as the martyrs. My God, why won't you support marijuana? Look at this poor epileptic girl. Oh, wait, she can get Epidiolex. Okay, so the multiple sclerosis patient, how dare you vote against it? Oh, she can use Sativex. That's where this heads, folks. Medical marijuana leads right to GW Pharmaceuticals' bottom line. That's the way it has to go. We are at a turning point now. You couldn't avoid doing the medical, well, maybe you could have. They're not doing medical marijuana in South America, and they're legalizing there. I talked to some of the people while I was at that drug policy conference, the Latin American people and South American people. I'm like, what's up with medical marijuana? It's not really even a thing. They don't even think of medical marijuana. They've decriminalized personal possession on the point of view that it's wrong to lock up addicts for what they're doing to themselves. And from that position, they're moving their government in Uruguay to legalizing the first marijuana market nationwide in the world. They didn't have to go through the medical marijuana step. So think about some of this stuff. Are we at a point now where medical marijuana has peaked, has gone as far as it can as, oh, the poor cancer patients need the plants? Have we gotten to the point where that's not tenable anymore? Have we gotten to the point where the pharmaceutical industry is going to start perfecting all of this stuff and take the medical marijuana arguments all away from us? And then what's left? I guess once the patients are all taken care of, nothing's left but us criminals, huh? Us criminals who use that THC that, it gets you high. It gets you high. The CBD oil is okay because it doesn't get you high. Because, getting high would be a terrible, awful, bad thing. Unless it's with Vicodin or Oxy. Then the high is no big deal. But getting high on the weed, oh my God, we can't have that. I got to find a happy story. I got to take a break. My head's going to explode. I mean, like scanners, man.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, home of the famous lighter leash. Herb Age Designs, get your Herb Age t-shirts and hoodies and show your pride. Herb Age Designs, we've got frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com and follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter. We'll see you at this year's Hemp Fest. Crank it up!
Desde la revista High Times, te invitamos a venir a Ámsterdam desde el 24 al 28 de noviembre al 26 aniversario de nuestro Cannabis Cup, donde demostraremos las muchas variedades de marihuana y hachís en los coffee shops. También tendremos una exposición de productos, seminarios de sembradíos, conciertos en las noches y una ceremonia de premios donde honramos la mejor marihuana del mundo. ¡Vámonos!
don't get it, do you? Alright, let me make this as clear as I possibly can. This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
I'm going down that road feeling bad. I'm going down that road feeling bad. I'm going down that road feeling bad. My Lord, and I ain't gonna be treated this bad. I'm tired of eating your cornbread and beans. I'm tired of eating your cornbread and beans. I'm tired of eating your cornbread and beans. My Lord, and I ain't gonna be treated this way.
That's right, I ain't gonna be treated this way. Going down the road feeling bad. Left wing Larry just stepping into the room. Probably coming to check my blood pressure.
Actually, I brought you this.
What's this?
Oh, some medication, huh?
Blood pressure meds. Oh, very nice.
Hold on, wait. He's got to check drug interactions.
That's right.
You know.
Like, what good ones are there? No, I'm actually not a pill guy.
Yeah,
never been much of a pill guy.
Neither am I. You know, I took a ride on the pharmaceutical roller coaster when I was younger, and cannabis helped me beat that. So.
Hell yeah. But I went back to my Facebook and I blocked those two fellas.
Yay.
I blocked them.
Because,
like I said, I'm willing to have discussions with people, but when discussions, devolve, I don't need it. My life is short, and I get to choose who's in it. Isn't that great? Everybody gets that. And if you got someone who you don't like, you're under no responsibility to continue conversing with them.
Really?
My time is valuable.
I gotta talk to a couple people. No.
My time is valuable, and my insights are, I believe, valuable, and I provide them for free on a variety of platforms. And if you don't like it, you can get a full refund, which is nothing because you didn't pay nothing for it. So you're blocked now. I'm done with it. All it's doing is making me mad and pissing people off. So there you go. We got a caller on the line. Our own Electric Bob is on the line. How you doing, Electric Bob?
I'm doing good. I was just hearing your ranting. It was a pretty good rant today.
Thanks, man. I've gone mad, you say. Mad!
Yeah, well, I forgot to ask you a question yesterday. What do you think will happen in 2016 with the bills that are going through? Do you think they'll? Because I heard that Florida is trying to get medical. Like, should people even bother trying to get medical bills anymore, or should we just go full? I think we should just go full legalization.
It depends on where you live. If you're in a state that is a legislative state, go for medical. In a legislative state, that's what's going to happen. But if you're in a state that's got initiative petitioning, go for legalization.
Full bore.
That's what they're doing. I mean, they're doing that in Missouri with Show Me Cannabis. Mm-hmm. Just go right to the legalization if you got ballot initiative. Because now it's just a matter of, now that it actually exists, it's a matter of the other states going, well, shit, why can't we do that?
Yep.
Well, I'm surprised Arizona hasn't legalized medical sooner, because California's had it for how many years?
Yeah, since 96.
People in Arizona, they can either drive 8 hours to LA or drive 12 hours to Denver.
Right. Well, that's going to start to have an effect. And one of the things I've put forth to the people trying to do Undergreen Railroad is that a serious economic analysis of marijuana refugees should be undertaken. Probably by somebody with better economics cred than me. But, somebody ought to take a look at that, because I know, like, Larry's not paying Florida taxes anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not paying Idaho taxes anymore. I know a whole bunch of people that moved out of Alabama, moved out of all sorts of states, and moved out either here, Oregon, California, Washington, to some state where they could be a medical marijuana patient or just have better access to marijuana. That's got to have an economic toll eventually.
Well, yeah, when I went out to Colorado, if I moved out to Colorado, I'd save a hell of a lot of money because I could just grow it my own, not even have to spend any money on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. And there's Washington, I gotta be honest, at least in this respect, is that Washington's kind of getting the bad end of the legalization at this point. There's no denying that this is a growing pain that really hurts. But it's not the fault of legalization. It's the fault of not having any regulation in medical. And there's all sorts of reasons we can talk about that. But again, that's the past. Now we're in the present. This is a situation that sucks. And the legalization in Washington State could have been better. It could have had home grow. It could have had no per se DUID in it. But it might not have gotten the monetary support. It wouldn't have gotten the law enforcement support. And who knows whether it would have passed or not. Some people like to say, well, Colorado got 55 and Washington got 55, so they could have passed it. But Colorado and Washington are two different states. They vote two different ways. There's different politics going on.
Yeah, isn't the Colorado voting system set up completely different than there's something about you have to vote for the taxes?
Right, that is a separate issue. In Colorado, aside from any other state, they have this thing called a constitutional amendment called the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, where when you do an initiative, you can't put the taxes in the initiative. The taxes have to be voted on as a separate vote by the people. In Washington State, they put the taxes in the initiative.
Yeah, it makes, I don't know. I voted on neither issue, so I really have no say in it, but I'm hoping to vote on Safer AZ. They don't have the money, but they got the backing, it looks like.
Yeah.
Because they're out petitioning all the big concerts. They went out and got a table at the state fair recently. They get tables at the big arena downtown. So I'm just hoping they'll come through because I've read their initiative and it has everything that people want. Home grow. Mm-hmm. I think it's 4 ounces you can have. So it's all good. But it hasn't really got much news. Like there's been a blip on TV about it, and that was it.
Well, this is the thing, and I always start by saying I wish everyone the best of luck in passing their all-volunteer, unfunded statewide initiatives. But to date, that has never happened.
Oh, really?
Not only has it never passed, it's never made the ballot.
Because I don't think they have anywhere near the signatures right now.
Yeah. The one initiative that made the ballot without support from the big money was Prop 19. And that was because one guy put his whole life savings into it, $1.5 million into that. That was Richard Lee. And, I got upset at some of the high-profile backers back then in 2010. I called them out. It's like, you should be putting money into this now. And they didn't jump into, the last 2 weeks of the election when it was just kind of symbolic and couldn't help much. So,
have any of the, I know it's probably too early right now, but has anyone even thought of the legislation for 2016? Because I know that...
for Arizona, I don't know.
No, not for Arizona. I'm just talking nationwide.
Oh, yeah. Well, California's got a number of credible groups are working on legalization for 2016. A nationwide thing, a federal thing, that's a decade or more off.
Not federal. I'm just talking about that. Individual.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of good states, lots of good groups that are putting together and that have serious backing and serious money to do it. And it leads me to the point that I wish marijuana activists would understand is... I like idealism and I have principles about marijuana and beliefs and everything, but I also know that I live in the real world where it takes money to win elections. And too many marijuana reformers go into writing their marijuana law, their proposal, by thinking, what would be the best marijuana legalization we could get? Instead of thinking, what marijuana legalization can we write that will attract money? And it's just sad that it has to be that way, but it is, especially post Citizens United. You need money to win. So what can you write up that will get some investors, some people with money to think, hey, shit, I had to throw a couple $100,000 at this because I can make a buck off this.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure there was a lot of what they're calling entrepreneurs that put in money to Amendment 64.
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and and you have to temper it. There is, of course, the downside of that is you have to try to get legalization on the ballot that the people with money and power and support like, and you end up with something like I-502, where they like it's just 1 ounce possession, no home grow, and per se DUID, but it's not necessarily the best legalization. But if you don't get something passed, if you don't get a beachhead toehold into legalization. I've always argued that any legalization you can pass that ends the contraband nature of cannabis at any level is good legalization, because it then changes you from a criminal fighting to get away with breaking the law into a citizen fighting to improve a law. And that's a lot easier battle to have.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be weird in Arizona because of how the medical law here, it's so screwed up and so regulated that the only chance people have to home grow now is legalization, because that case was struck down.
Yeah, interesting turn of events that it might be restricting, it might be eliminating home grow for medical patients that forces them to fight for home grow for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Because and I don't know of any other states, because all the states that have legalized had home grow. Arizona is one of those states that, as of now, unless you live out in Tuba City, doesn't have home grow.
Right. And it's odd to me how a lot of times I'll get the complaint of how the patients need to have X amount of marijuana and Y amount of plants, and then my question is, well then, why does a healthy person not get that? Why does it have to be a different level? Well, they need more. Well, okay, they need more, but what bad thing happens if the recreational person has more? I don't understand why we need to be, as recreational users, need to be second class when it comes to what the limits are for marijuana. The marijuana didn't change. I don't know. More rant stuff.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Bob. I've got to take a break. I'm starting to get a little dry mouth. I'm going to blame Brian for that.
Okay, see you later.
Thanks for calling.
Think good thoughts, Russ.
Thinking good thoughts.
Think good thoughts.
There we go. Very nice.
Mellow. Yeah.
We're all mellow now.
A little more Irie.
That's right. We got we got Irie Wednesday today, and Red Eyes Reggae Flashback tonight at 8.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show.
We got an update on that.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
We got an update on that Vermont story as well when we come back. Stick around.
What makes something funny? How does humor impact health and psychological well-being? How can you incorporate humor into everyday life? A concise, reader-friendly introduction to an important but often underappreciated topic in modern psychology, Humor 101 explains the role of comedy, jokes, and wit in the sciences and discusses why they are so important to understand. Psychology professor Dr. Mitch Earlywine draws from his personal experiences in stand-up comedy to focus on how humor can regulate emotion, reduce anxiety, and diffuse tense situations, expose pretensions, build personal relationships, and much more. He irreverently debunks the pseudoscience on the topic of humor and leaves readers not only funnier, but better informed. It's part of the Psych 101 series from Springer Publishing, Humor 101 by Dr. Mitch Earlywine, Ph.D. 420radio.org presents The Russ Belville Show, live every weekday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, with replays at 6 p.m., 9 p.m., 6 a.m., and 9 a.m. weekdays, as well as replays of the entire week's worth of shows beginning Saturdays at 3 p.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 420radio.org.
I'm Sub Cool from Team Green Avenger. At TGAgenetics.com, we are working on the leading edge of medical strains. Our strains are rigorously tested for THC, CBD, THCV, and other critical cannabinoids. Know your grow. Check out our genetic diversity at TGAgenetics.com, the home of Jelly Bean, Jack the Ripper, Vortex, and other award-winning cannabis strains.
1,000 million years ago, nature said let it grow. Grow more weed. I've got no race problem, I've got no age problem, I've got no problems when I'm stoned. So I'll grow more weed.
alterations. Nothing more than prohibition. Lives are being shattered in a drug war of attrition.
You let me get dizzy, you let me get giddy, you let me grow more weed. No to a witch doctor, no to a priest, just let me grow more weed. You let me get dizzy, you let me get giddy, let me grow more weed. I say no to a witch doctor, no to a priest, just let me grow more weed. This is simply prohibition. Lives are being shattered in a drugs war of attrition. There's nothing more than prohibition. Lives are being shattered in a drugs war of attrition.
Grow more weed. There's a good answer. I like that one. Grow more weed. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Toker Talk Radio. We got Medigrow, Vermont calling in with an update to yesterday's story. If you remember, we were talking about how there's, well, let's just have Fran tell it. It was basically there was a production on, tell people about the high CBD weed, right?
Well, actually, there was a presentation by the Stanley brothers associated with the Dr. Greg Holmes of the Department of Pediatric Neurology at the University of Vermont. And that actually did occur this evening, I believe, between 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Davis Auditorium at the university. The interesting thing that's kind of humorous, since we'll end it on a humorous note tonight, Russ, is that the story only got out because the Channel 22 news director mistook it for a story about a children's book, being that the name of the variety, of course, is Charlotte's Web. So we get our information any way we can, Russ, but this is on the outside.
So you that's where you got it. You wouldn't have even known that this thing was going on, except for the Charlotte's Web reference.
Yeah, one of my people saw it roll on the 22 News in the morning, and the woman was embarrassed when she figured out what she did.
I bet.
But actually, it goes a little further now because faculty and students have become aware of the situation and the fact that the university basically tried to bury the event by not even putting it in their regular schedule. And there seems to be a protest forming amongst the students and the faculty. Great. So this ought to be interesting. I don't have any further information, being that it's only probably about an hour since the program stopped, but I'm sure I'll be hearing more on it.
All right. Well, we'll get the updates from you on the rest of the week here. Feel free to call in the second half hour here. Hour 2 is a good time for us to get these updates from all around the country. Appreciate your work. Thanks, Fran.
Okay. Take care.
Take it easy. That's all the time we got today, but I want to thank you for being here for Toker Talk Radio. Coming up next, free weed. Free weed. Donnie Danko is going to be free weed for you. He's on his way to Amsterdam for the Cannabis Cup. We're hoping to get some reports from him while he's there. And then replays of these last 2 hours, followed by a live edition of Red Eyes Reggae Flashback. So stick around for that with Brian the Red. For Brian the Red and Left Wing Larry, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it.